Oh, yo, tribe! Complexity is a poison, but simplicity is the antidote. Question is, how do you apply the antidote? Yesterday, I told you, step one, you have to recognize the complexity. You have to recognize what is going on, what the issue is. And I gave you the example, a simple example of just everyday life, where I was parked, coming out of the Chinese restaurant, had my food in my seat, and there was a car coming, and I was getting ready to zoom out in front of the car because I thought I had time, but then all of a sudden it dawned on me, I'm just making it more problematic, making it more complex, because if I did that, I'd have to reach with my right hand, hold the food, steer with my left hand, watch the car, make sure I wasn't going too fast out of control. So I decided to simplify the situation and just wait, let the car go by. But I was able to recognize somehow that there was an issue. And the reason I was able to recognize it is because I was thinking about it at the time. So in order to recognize the complexity, you've got to be looking for it. It's got to be something that's a priority, that you're looking for areas of complexity in your life that can cause a problem. Once you recognize the complexity, step two is to understand the problem that is creating. Maybe you see something as complexity. I told you that when something's happening that makes you feel uneasy, that makes you feel troubled, that makes your stomach just not feel right, maybe there's a problem there. Maybe it's complexity dealing in your life. So once you recognize that, evaluate it. What's the problem? What's creating it? In that simple example of pulling out from the restaurant, the problem created was I was trying to hope to go faster, to get out there on the road quicker and get on down the road. And that was going to be an increase in complexity, because I was going to have to do multiple things that may lead me to having an accident. So once you recognize the complexity, understand what's causing it. What was causing it for me at that moment was impatience, wanting to get out there quicker. Give you another example from real life. This weekend, on Saturday evening, I was sitting in a chair and talking to my wife. We were watching the basketball game on, and I was working on my Sunday school lesson that I was going to teach at the same time. And so I'm trying to multitask, study my lesson, write out a good outline, and talk to my wife at the same time. I was multitasking. But the truth was, in doing that, I wasn't really successful in either part. I made my wife irritated because I wasn't giving her attention. Things that she was asking me were going past me, but at the same time, in trying to give her attention, I wasn't doing justice to my lesson. And so I had this uneasy feeling, but I just kept on. I wasn't able to recognize the complexity issue. But had I been able to recognize it, I could have sat back and said, what's making this problem? What am I recognizing here? I'm trying to do two very important things at the same time, and neither one am I giving 100%. And so both are going to suffer. So once you recognize the feeling that complexity gives you, that uneasiness, that something's not right, then you have to break down what's causing the complexity. Maybe it's at work. Sometimes at work, I'm trying to do multiple things at once. I'm trying to read a patient's MRI, and I'm trying to answer a message on the computer, and I'm trying to think about the next patient and none of the three are getting my full attention. And in my mind, I'm thinking I'm multitasking, but in my stomach, I'm feeling this uneasiness that gives me an anxious feeling. Well, that's time to step back and say, what's causing this? There's some complexity somewhere, and I have to look for that, evaluate it, and see what the issue is. So step one, recognize the feeling when your life is being stressed with complexity. Step two, evaluate it. See what the complexity is, what the issue is, which can then lead you to the next step. Moyo, everywhere we go.